In the annals of Westeros, time is measured by a pivotal event, Aegon's Conquest. This event is so significant that it divides the history of the land into two distinct eras. Years before this epical event are marked BC, before Conquest. These years are often shrouded in mystery and legend, with tales of ancient heroes and forgotten battles. Years after bear the designation AC, after Conquest. This period is more documented, with records of the Targaryen dynasty and the changes they brought to the realm. This system, while seemingly straightforward, is not without its ambiguities. The exact dating of events can be a matter of intense debate among historians. The very year of Aegon's landing is a point of contention among maesters and scholars. Some ancient texts suggest different dates, leading to confusion and debate. Some argue that the year of the landing should be considered 1 AC. They believe that Aegon's arrival marked the beginning of a new era immediately. Others maintain that Aegon's coronation, occurring 2 years later, marks the true commencement of his reign, and thus, the start of the AC calendar. This view holds that the formal recognition of his rule is what truly began the new era. This debate highlights the inherent complexities of historical dating. The passage of time and the loss of records over centuries make it challenging to pinpoint exact dates. It also underscores the profound impact of Aegon's conquest on the very fabric of timekeeping in Westeros. The conquest was not just a military victory, but a cultural and historical turning point. Regardless of the precise year, the significance of Aegon's arrival remains undisputed. His conquest changed the political landscape of Westeros forever. It ushered in a new era, forever altering the destiny of Westeros. The Targaryen rule brought about new laws, customs, and a centralized form of governance. Before Aegon's arrival, Westeros was a fractured land. The continent was divided into 7 independent kingdoms, each ruled by its own king. 7 independent kingdoms, each with its own history, culture, and ambitions, vied for power and dominance. These kingdoms were often at war with each other, leading to a state of constant conflict. Wars were commonplace, alliances were fluid, and peace was a fleeting notion. The shifting allegiances and betrayals were the order of the day. The 7 kingdoms, though sharing a common ancestry and faith in the 7, were divided by geography, ambition, and centuries of bloodshed. Each kingdom had its own unique identity and way of life. This period, shrouded in the mists of time and often romanticized in songs and legends, was one of constant upheaval. The stories of this era are filled with tales of heroism, treachery, and the rise and fall of great houses. It was an era where might made right and only the strongest could hope to carve their names into the annals of history. The power struggles were fierce, and only the most cunning and powerful could survive. Into this tumultuous world, Aegon Targaryen arrived, not as a liberator or a unifier, but as a conqueror. His ambition was to bring all of Westeros under his rule, and he had the might of dragons to achieve this goal. With his dragons, Aegon was able to subdue the warring kingdoms and establish a new order. His conquest was swift and decisive, changing the course of Westerosi history forever. Aegon's crowning as the first king of Westeros marked the beginning of a new era. His rule brought about a sense of unity and stability that the land had never known before. The legacy of Aegon's conquest is still felt in Westeros today. His actions set the stage for the future of the realm, influencing the politics, culture, and history of the land for generations to come. Aegon's conquest began not with a roar, but with a whisper that landed on the shores of Blackwater Bay, carried by the wind and the wings of dragons. These dragons, majestic and fearsome, were the harbingers of a new era. It was a whisper that spoke of a new power, a power that would challenge the old ways and reshape the very destiny of Westeros. The ancient houses, with their long-held traditions and rivalries, would soon face an unprecedented force. Aegon's Landing, as it came to be known, was a pivotal moment in Westerosi history. It was the dawn of a new age, an age where the Targaryen name would become synonymous with power and fire. It marked the arrival of a force unlike any the land had ever seen: dragons. These creatures, with their scales shimmering in the sunlight and their roars echoing across the land, were a sight to behold. These magnificent creatures, once thought to be mere legends, were now a terrifying reality. Their fire could melt stone, and their presence alone could instill fear in the hearts of even the bravest warriors. Their fire, their might, and the sheer audacity of their riders sent a clear message across the land. The old order was about to crumble. The lords and ladies of Westeros could no longer rely on their castles and armies alone. Despite the awe-inspiring sight of the dragons, Aegon did not immediately proclaim himself king of all Westeros. He understood that true power required more than just fear. It required respect and loyalty. He instead chose to consolidate his power, establishing a foothold on this new land. He began by securing the loyalty of the local lords, offering them protection and prosperity in exchange for their allegiance. He raised a fort, a simple wooden structure that would later become the mighty Red Keep. This fort was not just a military stronghold. It was a symbol of Targaryen ambition and the promise of a new order. This fort served as a symbol of Targaryen ambition, a beacon of the coming storm. It stood as a testament to Aegon's vision and his determination to reshape the world. 2 years passed between Aegon's landing and his coronation. These were years of careful planning, strategic alliances, and decisive actions. 2 years of strategic maneuvering, forging alliances, and crushing those who dared to oppose him. Aegon knew that to rule Westeros, he needed more than just dragons. He needed the support of its people. These 2 years were crucial in solidifying Aegon's claim to the Iron Throne. He negotiated with powerful houses, married into influential families, and demonstrated his strength on the battlefield. They demonstrated his patience, his ruthlessness, and his unwavering determination to become the sole ruler of Westeros. Aegon's landing was not just the beginning of his conquest. It was the foundation of a dynasty that would rule for centuries. Finally, after 2 years of relentless effort, Aegon was crowned as the first king of Westeros. His coronation marked the unification of the Seven Kingdoms under a single ruler, a feat that had never been accomplished before. Seated on the Iron Throne, forged from the swords of his defeated enemies, Aegon the Conqueror looked out over his new realm. The whisper that had started on the shores of Blackwater Bay had grown into a roar that would echo through the ages. To understand Aegon's conquest, one must first delve into the rich and tumultuous history of his ancestors, the Dragon Lords of Valyria. This ancient civilization, shrouded in both mystery and legend, was the birthplace of a legacy that would shape the course of history in ways unimaginable. For thousands of years, the Valyrians ruled a vast and sprawling empire, their power bolstered by their unparalleled mastery of dragons. These magnificent creatures were not just beasts of burden or tools of war. They were the very essence of Valyrian might and majesty. The Valyrians themselves were a people of unparalleled beauty, intelligence, and ruthlessness. Their striking features and sharp minds were matched only by their fierce determination and unyielding ambition. They were a race apart, destined for greatness and feared by all who opposed them. Their mastery of magic, particularly fire magic, set them apart from all other civilizations. This arcane knowledge, passed down through generations, allowed them to bend the very elements to their will. Fire was their ally, their weapon, and their symbol of power. The Valyrians forged their empire with fire and blood. Their conquests were swift and brutal, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Yet, from the ashes of their enemies, they built a civilization that was the envy of the world. Their dragons, fearsome creatures of immense power, were their weapons of war, tools of terror, and symbols of their dominion. These majestic beasts, with their scales of iron and breath of fire, were both revered and feared. For generations, the Dragon Lords of Valyria reigned supreme, their influence stretching across Essos and beyond. Their dominion was unchallenged, their power absolute. They were the masters of their world, and none dared to defy them. Their cities, marvels of architecture and engineering, were said to be powered by the very breath of their dragons. These urban centers were not just places of residence, but symbols of Valyrian ingenuity and might. Towers of obsidian and streets paved with dragonglass stood as testaments to their unparalleled craftsmanship. But the Valyrians were not invincible. Despite their immense power and influence, they had their vulnerabilities. Their reliance on dragons and magic made them formidable, but it also made them complacent. Their empire, built on conquest and subjugation, was ultimately consumed by its own hubris. The very traits that had made them great also sowed the seeds of their downfall. Arrogance and overconfidence blinded them to the dangers that lurked within and without. The doom a cataclysmic event that shattered the Valyrian Peninsula and extinguished their civilization, remains a chilling reminder of the ephemeral nature of power. In a single devastating moment, their world was turned to ash. Volcanoes erupted, the earth split asunder, and the very skies rained fire. The once great cities of Valyria were consumed in an inferno of unimaginable proportions. The land itself seemed to rebel against the Dragon Lords, tearing their empire apart. The doom, shrouded in mystery and whispered in hushed tones, marked the end of an era. To this day, the true cause of the cataclysm remains unknown, a subject of speculation and fear. Some say it was a natural disaster, others whisper of dark sorcery and betrayal. The once mighty Valyrian freehold was no more, its cities reduced to smoldering ruins, its people scattered or dead. The great civilization that had once dominated the world was now a ghost, a memory of fire and blood. Yet from the ashes of this fallen empire, a single Dragon Lord family escaped, House Targaryen. This family, carrying the legacy of Valyria, would rise to forge a new destiny. Their story, born of fire and blood, was far from over. It was just beginning. House Targaryen, one of the 40 noble families who ruled as Dragon Lords in the Valyrian freehold, had long foreseen the doom. Aegon Targaryen, heeding the prophetic dreams of his maiden daughter Daenerys, relocated his family and their 5 dragons to Dragonstone, a bleak island outpost in the narrow sea. This exodus, ridiculed by other Dragon Lords as cowardice, proved to be their salvation. 12 years later, the doom came, obliterating Valyria in all its glory. House Targaryen, spared from the fiery cataclysm, found themselves the last surviving Dragon Lords, their lineage unbroken, their dragons alive.
Father, I have seen it. A great fire will consume Valyria. We must leave now.
On Dragonstone, House Targaryen dwelled for generations, their connection to Westeros limited to trade and occasional skirmishes with pirates. They kept their Valyrian customs, their silver gold hair and violet eyes a testament to their heritage. They also kept their dragons, those magnificent beasts of legend, the source of their power and their claim to greatness. Though far from their ancestral home, House Targaryen never forgot their Valyrian roots. They bided their time, rebuilding their strength, waiting for the opportune moment to reclaim their lost glory. That moment arrived with Aegon the Conqueror, a descendant of Aegon Targaryen, who looked upon the fractured land of Westeros and saw not 7 kingdoms, but one realm ripe for the taking.